Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to this episode of Oxford from the Inside, the good, the bad, but always the truth. Today we're joined by Kyla. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm Kyla. I'm a second year chemistry student at the Queen's College.
Thank you for coming on the show. So main question for today is, what surprised you the most when you arrived at Oxford?
Yeah, so I had to really think about this one actually, because I was kind of thinking like, I don't know how much preconception I had, because to me, Oxford seemed like this scary, mysterious, so far removed from my own life kind of place that I wasn't wholly expecting a lot of stuff to go in. But I think kind of unintentionally, I assumed that no one would be normal, or what my definition of normal was. I kind of thought like everyone's going to want to be in the library 24/7. Everyone's going to have, like in terms of people's hobbies, I've been to One Direction concerts and everyone else will have been to the ballet and operas and art museums, and everyone's going to be really cultured and they're going to make reference to like the Odyssey, and I'm not going to know what's going on. And that was kind of, I think, a very underlying assumption. And then I remember arriving in Freshers Week, and people were just completely like my friends from back home. Like everyone, even like people who didn't drink, it wasn't like the social life revolved around drinking. It was just like, oh yeah, like everyone kind of goes to the bar afterwards and we all just like have a chat. People weren't, obviously some people are really into work and that's what they want to do most of their time, and that's absolutely fine, that's their decision. But I was surprised to find that people like me were in the majority, where it was like, actually, I want a healthy work-life balance, I want to settle in. People didn't settle in instantly, and I think that was a concern of mine as well, that it was going to be like, we get there and from day dot everyone's got this work schedule, everyone knows what's going on, no one else is missing their family. And again, just wasn't the case at all. And yeah, we went on some really good nights out. We were all kind of like laughing, joking. Everyone had like similar tastes in music. And I found that actually there are friends of mine who what they get their kicks out of is far more what you would probably consider cultured than I do. But actually the way that the conversation is approached is very much as like, oh, like that's really cool that you've been to Venice. Like, tell me about that. That's really interesting. Like, what was that like? And then, in their experience, it'll be like, okay, so you did musicals at school. Like, that must have been really cool. Like, there's not as much of a gap, I think, that I thought there was going to be. And then I think the main thing, which is kind of like the big bad wolf that probably still haunts me now, but I'm getting over it, and it was certainly a big thing when I was a fresher, is the notion that I assumed Oxford's this leading like world university. We've tried so hard to get in, we've all got these amazing grades. I assumed it was going to be like, you get your tutorial sheet, you get 95%, you move on. Like, I assumed that was going to be the expectation, because when you're in school and when you're doing A levels, kind of, I remember in my school, they set the grade boundary for A star at 90%. I do not think I've ever got close to 90% at university, and I'm doing like well. And I think especially as a sciences student, where it's not essay, well, I mean, some are essay based, but it's not kind of like that subjective essay based. So it's not like, oh, develop your writing style. It's like, did you get this right or did you get this wrong? Mm-hmm. And I think the first tutorial sheet I handed in, I was really panicking, because I was like, I haven't answered this whole sheet. Like, there are questions here that I've left, or questions here that I think are wrong, and I had never done that. That was not the precedent at school. And even the ones that I'd given my best go at, sometimes my best go is an explanation of why I can't do it. Sometimes my best go is like, I get that, I'm really confused about that, what specifically is happening here? And that is more than enough. Tutors love that. They write on my feedback, like, really great feedback, like, we'll go over this in the class. And I remember getting that first sheet back and my tutor being like, yeah, everyone handed in really great work here. And I was like, do I count as everyone? Because I didn't answer all of this question. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, that everybody being friendly and relatable is a big thing. But I think that's the thing that potentially some of us who are here and have been here for a while still have to like not level of surprise out of their heads when you get, you know, you do an exam paper and you're like, oh my gosh, I could only do like 3/4 of that paper, and then you're like 75% to first, let me walk away now. Like you kind of have to like remember that the expectations for your actual grades and your percentages are much lower because the work is inherently harder. And sometimes we answer stuff in tutorials and we get to the tutorial and they're like, yeah, so I gave you this question because scientists don't know. There's a couple of hypotheses, like you came up with that one, you came up with that one, we're still working it out. And it's like, oh, there isn't just a right answer that you copy from a mark scheme. Right, okay. And that surprised me a lot, I think when I first arrived.
Because 100% is impossible, isn't it? Like no one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever known anyone get 100% on a uni exam, because like we get the examiners reports for exams. And I was doing some past papers before sitting my mocks this term, and I was looking on a examiner's report, and it was like maximum marks scored for the paper 85%, and that's like some genius with like a photographic memory and like basically like an encyclopedia of chemistry knowledge, and they still got 85. So it's not like the paper is completely achievable. The point is that it isn't. Like,
it's really, really important. Well, thank you so much.
No
thank
problem.
you so much for coming on. Really appreciate your time. And hopefully anyone else who's freaking out about only getting 80%, you're getting marks. Leave some for the rest of us, please.
Doing well, I promise.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening or watching this Oxford from the Inside episode. Until next time, bye-bye.